Happy Friday, and today we're going to work a little bit on the thoracic spine, and with it the shoulders and the posterior serratus, which I've talked about a little bit, right above the kidneys. You're going to take your hands behind your back and see if you could just brush with the backs of your hands from the spine outward, little rainbows or arcs right on the lower ribs, and just think of moving those ribs apart, maybe warming them up. You see Tai Chi people sometimes rubbing the backs of their hands on their low back like that, and just getting that fascia of the low back warmed up manually. And then if you had your masseuse working on you, they might, again, spread the fascia out from the spine. That simple motion, as we come to seated, gives you a little bit of a lift from that lower part of the thoracic spine. So just above the lumbar, about T12, and that opens up everything above. We still have work to do beyond that, but that one simple operation can just lift everything up and make it accessible. So finding your seat, closing your eyes, and bring your palms to your heart. Releasing your breath on the exhale, and then big inhale with an Om. And opening the eyes. So, before we get started on our backs, you can take your strap, you can take your towel. If you have a bungee, I'm just going to grab my prop here and make a little cord between the hands with the palms facing up. I just have these kind of stretchy hands I'm using in a pinch. And I'm going to hold them out in front of me like a tray, the arms, keeping the elbows pretty tight. I'm just going to pull the hands apart, lift the chest. And just do this a few times, whether you have a strap held wide, elbows tucked in, or you've got your bungee. And you can work the rotation as much as you like. But as you do it, pay attention to the front, middle, and back of the deltoid, right across the shoulder. And if the hands were to start pretty close together and then move apart as you stretch your strap or your stretchy band or your stretchy pants, it moves, the emphasis moves from the front to the back of the shoulder into the extensors, and those then tie into that posterior serratus where we had our hands a moment ago. So just feel this action. We're going to come back to that in a second. So one of the challenges of the day will be to, as you set your hands down, feel the opening of the shoulder and the thoracic spine from these roots back in the posterior serratus. So one more thing before we get on to our backs. And the other day I showed Gomukhasana. And some people can just wind right into it. But if we were to just think like beginners for a second, and we'll take our right hand behind our back, like we're going to rub that right hand, and see if you can get all the way across with the back of your right wrist to your left posterior serratus, that area. So if I flipped around and showed you, be like this. okay? And just kind of give that a massage. And then if you were to push into that area, and then bring your free arm, your left arm up, so you can get long through that whole left side. You can even take the palm of the left hand behind the occiput, the bony ridge in your left side of your skull, and start to rotate to the right. A little complex, but once you get it, you're lifting, pressing in and lifting with that bottom hand, and in turn, lifting all the way up now as you take a little twist to the right, right up to the back of the skull. You can even gently pull, like a mother cat pulls a kitten, that left side of the skull up. Okay? And then can we try the other side? So we're going to take our left hand behind our back and just start to stroke from the spine outward, and maybe a little up and down those muscles about 6 inches up from the back. And that's going to then encourage us to reach up with the palm spinning inward, by the way. Internal spin of the palm creates external rotation of the shoulder. So we're not getting up in this right trap. So right arm up, and that left hand is kind of moving the lift and the rotation. So we're rotating to the left. Now we can take our, nod our chin forward, take the back of the right hand in the back of the skull, and then big inhale, lift up, expanding the accordion, the whole right rib cage, from the bottom hand all the way to the top, and you can kind of luxuriate into this. Lean back. You can do both sides again. Right hand down, left hand up, rotate right. Once you get it, and then spiraling. And then release. So let's go ahead and roll our bodies out before we get too far into this exploration. And we've done this rollout before, most of you. So we'll take our roll towel to about mid-mat and get into our prep for bridge with the small of the neck, cervical arch right in that, right over that towel roll so it's comfortable. And if you want, you can still support the top of your head with your fingertips if you feel like you need something. But if you get it right, you can just let your arms come out to the sides and just start to sacral tilt. Inhale, the hips move away, the low back arches. And exhale, let the low back flatten. And as you lift the lumbar, keeping the hips on the ground, get a nice stretch and lengthening of the cervical spine. If you do it right, it's like both of those bony ridges in the skull get tugged. Now, we'll all support our head, our skull with our hands, taking both arms up where they were individually, and just roll from left to right and artfully roll over that towel roll about 3 or 4 inches until you're at about the tops of the shoulder blades. Okay, and you can keep your hands under your skull as you then sacral tilt, inhale, and then retract, curl the tailbone, exhale. Some people can release the head down and take your goalpost arms, letting the head move with the motion of the hips. So as you inhale, move the hips forward, the lumbar arches. Again, the back of the neck is drawn long. As you exhale, the hips come back. You can actually roll your head back and look behind you. Go easy if you've got neck issues or you're just waking up. You can work in that towel roll in the muscles here that are going to help us in back bending. And then once again, support the head and just move another inch or so to the mid shoulder blade. Same thing, you can keep your hands under your head, supporting the elbows bent as you cycle tilt back and forth, inhale, exhale. Or if you've got more flexibility, your arms can goalpost, same thing. And just here you can start to really feel the intersection of the shoulders, mid-back, and the neck. Again, going easy, could be a micro movement. Now here, if you can, let your arms come out to the sides and take an exhale to move or drop the knees to the left and roll the head toward that extended right arm. Inhale to center, drop the knees to the right, the head to the left. And you're just getting a little back rub on those lower trapezius muscles. And then it gets a little more fun as we move on to the next step. First, bringing the arms down near the hips, and then just gently lift the hips up an inch. Just an inch, so that you don't put any pressure on the head. You're just getting a little bit of pressure on that towel roll. Let the hips come down, again, support under the head, and roll from left to right to crawl, and move yourself just under the shoulder blade tips now. Most of you now should be able to take your arms out to the sides or goalpost and do your cat and cow movement with your hips moving back and forth. And now we're starting to touch that posterior serratus point where we had our hands and just massage it. We can spiral it as well with the arms going straight out, inhale, and exhale, knees go left, head goes right. And do the other side. And now we'll go a little further now that we're down to our area of interest. And as the knees go to the right, start to reach your left arm straight up to 12 noon overhead, keeping the thumb and the index finger on the floor, and start to push yourself over to the right using your left foot to push that left knee on the diagonal. And if this is confusing, take a moment to take a little peek. We've done this before. And just as before, now moving from the lower body all the way up that left shoulder. And then drop back down. Bring the knees together, inhale, exhale, knees go left. And then as you start to roll your body slowly over to the left, the right arm comes up and reaches as if you're reaching for the trapeze bar, and you start to push with the right foot, lift the right hip, and roll about halfway over to the left. You can do that another time. Once you get this action of the lengthening psoas and the lift from the posterior serratus, and then the translation all the way up through that extended arm. As you roll, keep the palm spinning downward. If you get over to the right now, you can add a piece and bring that extended left arm right in front of your eyes and grab the wrist. Grab that left wrist. Start to pull gently that left arm on the diagonal over about 10 o'clock using your right hand. And let's try the other side. Center,
Exhale, drop the knees left. Start to slide like a hand of a clock. Right arm to 12 noons, start to roll left. Push the right knee away. Lengthen the psoas. And maybe keep rotating like a hand of a clock. That right arm in front of your gaze. So you can grab the right wrist, the left hand, and start to gently pull, pull, pull. About 2 o'clock. And then we'll come back onto our backs. Move your feet toward you and lift your hips to slide the towel roll right under your sacrum. Now let's bring the knees in and give them a little squeeze and rinse in case that was a little too much extension in your low back. Let's go ahead and drop your right foot down and hold your left knee. You can keep the right foot on the ground or slide it forward, straightening the right leg. I have a wall that I'm pushing into, which is nice. And then just start to draw that left knee toward your left shoulder. Inhale and exhale, move it away. Just start moving into the strength of that hip and the mobility of that left hip. And then you can make little circles. We used to do this once a week. We've gotten away from it. Both directions of the circle. And then if you've extended your right leg, pull it back in. See if you can make a figure 4 with the right knee behind the left shin. So the left shin riding on top of the right knee, you can reach through the legs and bind and square the hips off. Moving that left hip forward, pushing the left shin into the right knee into the hands. And any small movements that feel good here. Now a little extra piece, see if you can keep your figure 4, but grab that hole on either side of that left shin. So your right hand's gonna be on your right foot, your left foot rather, and your left hand on your left knee. And then we're just gonna drop the right foot down like we had moments ago. Or we can slide it long. And now you're in an inverted or supine half pigeon, and you're gonna play the cello. You're gonna move that left shin over to the right, and then you're gonna move it to the left. And just start to move a little bit of the fascia in that outer hip. Okay, and let's go ahead and switch sides now. And we're gonna hold our right knee with both hands. The left foot can be resting on the ground or can slide forward to the wall. Appanasana, and then you're gonna glide the right knee toward your right shoulder. Inhale and away, exhale. And so if it doesn't bother you, you have that towel roll that you're going over and away. It gives you some point of reference and extension and flexion. And then you can circularize with your hands, that right knee in both directions. And then you're gonna come into a figure 4 on that right side with the right shin over the left knee. Just drag that left knee back behind the right ankle. Bottom of the shin, and then binding, flexing your toes, squaring off the hips by engaging your core. Just moving. Sometimes you manually need to push that right hip forward. Breathing here. Now we're going to try to grab that right shin. So left hand on right foot, on the sole of the foot, right hand on right knee, and the left foot drops down as before. Maybe slides forward to along the mat or to the wall. Now you're holding that right shin, and you can push into your hands. You can just push to square off the hips, and you can also start to play the cello. Left and right. And then release. And if you can, if you've been straightening your legs, you can straighten both legs to the wall. Reach your arms overhead and take a big yawning stretch. Lengthening out of the lumbar and spinning your palms toward one another as you reach back to the floor, lift your chest, and then release. Bend one knee, bend the other, and lift up the hips to release the towel roll, and roll off to one side to come up to standing. So, before we get to standing, let's come to hands and knees, and we're going to work a little bit of the same stuff with our chest down. So, let's go ahead and take a downward dog just to lengthen everything out, see how you're feeling with the legs, the arms. Sometimes a little bit of back work can be really nice before you start major postures. So bend your knees, shimmy your hips to the left. You exhale. You have the center with the knees bent, shimmy the hips to the right. Opening up the lateral body a little bit. And then come to high push-up and come down your hands and knees. So let's come to easy cobra. We can grab a strap, or I've got these stretchy pants, or you might have your bungee. And we're just going to come right down, and I'll spin around so you can see me better. Whatever you've got, could be your strap. We're going to come to easy cobra on the forearms, elbows under the shoulders, and flip our palms to the sky and take whatever we've got, strap, stretchy pants, and start to just do the same thing we did seated. We're going to pull the hands apart, pull the stretchy band apart at a strap, and lift the chest. And then you can collapse, just like not you, but other people do at the computer, and feel how the shoulder head moves forward. So just doing this simple exercise of pulling the strap apart. And as you come up with the chest, feel how you're getting a little bit of lift through that posterior serratus, which we started class with. So you go down and up. And so the arms and the shoulders, the deltoids, moving from the front of the deltoid to the back of the deltoid, starts to have a connection to this work. And then let's place the head down. Take the hands wide and do some cobra push-ups, trying to use the same action, letting the shoulders actually spill and roll forward in the wrong pattern. Inhale, coming up with the shoulders, and incrementally rolling the shoulders back so you lift from that, like a potato chip. The posterior serratus, just try to roll to the back of the deltoid as much as you can, given that it's morning time, and then coming down and up. And feeling each section of spine, from the posterior serratus up to the mid-back, up toward the neck. And don't go too much if it's early in your day, but just firing those muscles up. And then making your way to child's pose. So let's go ahead and take another downward dog. And see if you can feel with the knees bent, the same action from the posterior serratus, the lower lats. You can even bend your knees and look toward your hands now and spin your fingers outward, just like you were holding the strap and pulling it apart to spread your chest, spread the collarbones. And then go ahead and dive in to down dog, keeping that length from the posterior serratus, from the deep roots of the lats, and lengthening forward. And you can bend one knee and the other, of course. Come to high plank, and go ahead and come to hands and knees. Sit down in Virasana, take a peek. So we're going to be working with this external rotation of the arms, and that requires, just like we did in Easy Cobra, that the palms are up to the sky. So this plays out in Vinyasa, in Urdhva Hastasana, or lifting the arms. But lift the arms with the palms facing back. So you can just try that and see how much mobility you have. And we did already some work in the subscapularis, and we did bring the back body into some length through the towel, through the Easy Cobra. So you may get lucky and just be able to come right up like that. Just feel that action. What this internal spin of the pinky finger, which is an external rotation of the upper arm bone, does is to try and keep the upper trapezius, the neck muscles, a little more passive as we extend up. So let's see if we can do some work here in our child's pose using this spiral in the arm. So take a peek. I'm going to drop down, and what I'm going to do is spiral the right palm up to the sky and just rest my head, the right side of my head on that right bicep like that. You can slide your left hand back toward you as a kickstand. Then drag your hips back. So this is a deep stretch along that right lateral body, triceps, lat. So go easy. And you can actually push into the ground with your left hand and look toward it. Okay, and then you can come up to the other side. So I'm going to take the left palm to the sky and slide it forward. Rest my left temple on my bicep. Look toward the right hand. Just slid back and sit the hips down and get the stretch. Okay, and then try a downward dog and see how that feels in down dog. That action, what that allows you to do to relax the upper trapezius and lift the chest. Let's go ahead and step the feet to the hands, lengthen to a flat back, and fold. Come up through chair pose, Utkatasana, and then stand. So let's play with this concept a little bit in a vinyasa, just to get moving a bit. And when we do our raise of our arms, we're going to do it in that same way. So instead of coming out from the sides like that, we're going to come straight up like so, and then sit into our Utkatasana. And then take your mind's eye right to those posterior serratus. If you're still feeling a little stiff, take your hands down and take the backs of the hands and just do the same exercise I was telling you before, just rubbing up and down with the backs of the wrists. And then try to lift the arms from that engagement of that point, pulling the frontal ribs down. And let's forward fold and see if you can have the palms in the same orientation. The fingers are actually set back, pointing back toward you, to the back of the mat. You can bend your knees. And then again, bending the knees, Uttanasana, bring the arms up and release, palms to heart. So let's add one more piece to this and then we'll flow. Up come the arms, inhale, with the palms facing back. And then as you exhale, bring the arms in front of you, like you're holding a platter, which is really just the easy cobra extended. And then forward fold. And the knees, reach the arms up, and then palms to the heart. And then one more piece, but here I want you to be careful. Inhale, Uttanasana with palms back, look up. And then keep looking up as you let your arms go forward in front of you as we just did. Stretching the scalene muscles. And now dive down in one motion to forward fold. Let's go ahead and step the right foot back and fold over the front leg in Parsvottanasana. So you can use your fingertips either side of that foot. And then start to dive in. Bend the front knee, come up to warrior one. Again, with the palms facing back. Now let's see if we can take the hands to the back of the skull as we did on the rollout and nod the chin forward and lift the back of the skull up. And then exhale, press into the hands, look up. Exhale, release, hands to floor, make your way to downward dog, with or without the movement through cobra. Recommended today the cobra just because we're working on eventually doing more back bending. Could be an easy one with the knees bent and then down dog. Even in down dog, see if you can move the upper arm bones apart, get to the outer head, the outer aspect of the deltoid. Then jump or step, feet to hands, flat back and fold. Then the knees coming up through our externally spiraled chair pose, and then hands to heart. Same thing, so watch if you didn't get it. Up come the arms, and you can look up. And then bring the arms in front of you, hitchhiking the thumbs apart. Remember that action of pulling the stretchy band? Stretch the scalenes under the neck. And then as you dive down, release the neck. Step the left foot back and take your Parsvottanasana. Come on your fingertips if you need to. I'm working the reverse palm. The fingers back. And eventually moving the hands further back. And then hands either side of front foot, front knee bends. Warrior one with external rotated arms. Take the hands to the back of the skull as you nod your chin forward and then lift up into your hands. You even open your mouth and open the masseter muscle in the jaw. And then let's release, hands to ground, high plank. And the modified cobra I like is to drop the knees, swing the chest through, keeping the elbows tight. And then all the actions we expressed earlier, seeing if the shoulders can roll back progressively. And then child's pose. And eventually downward dog. And then jump your feet to your hands. Lift to a flat back, forward fold. Uttanasana. With the palms facing back, and then standing. Again, arms by the sides. Inhale, reach up. Palms facing back. Exhale, bend the knees, look up. Reach again, and then bring the palms in front of you, like you're offering a tray. Thumbs to checking out, and then fold. Right foot back, warrior one. So the hands behind the head are for those that are still a little bit stiff in the subscap, but eventually you can just have that reverse spiral of the palms and start to move toward a back bend. But by all means, support your head if this is difficult for you. And let's bring the palms to the heart now. Inhale, lift the back heel, the right heel. Just drop the right knee down. Take a little rotation to the left. You can take your arms open in a high twist. You can take your right elbow past and outside the front knee. And take a couple breaths. Slide the tailbone forward with the chest and then unwind. Plank to low plank or drop to your knees. Swing the chest through. Cobra. Watching the deltoids. Child's pose to down dog. Jump step, feet to hands. Flat back and fold. Bend your knees, coming up with your external spiraled arms, and then palms to heart. Other side. Inhale, palms coming up, reaching back. Look up, sink the knees. Keep looking up, let your arms come forward. Open your jaw, ah. Stretch the scalenes and masseters. Then you fold as your head drops. Left foot back, warrior one. Bring the arms up, and then determine, okay, my arms are still a little bit stiff. I'm gonna take the fingertips to the back of the skull and press. Or, things feeling pretty good. From the preliminary work, start to curl the potato chip. From the posterior serratus, where we had our hands before, right in the back there, everything comes up. And then come down, palms to heart, lift the back heel, and slowly place the back knee, left knee down, and rotate your chest to the right. You can stay right here, open arms in a high twist, or drop down into your prayer twist. Find the actions of the pose, tailbone moving forward and down. And then you know the rest. Plank, low plank. If you are doing a low plank, remember, you gotta come way forward here. And then you flip it. Let's all take a child's pose for a second while I show the next permutation. And then back to Virasana. So we've been working on the thoracic spine using the arms here. And now we're going to try to take it one step further. So earlier in class, I had you do this child's pose with one arm and external rotation. It looked like this. Just watch first. I'm going to bring the knees pretty close together. And I dropped down, sliding my right arm forward with the right palm up. Took my head on there, Left hand is looking toward. Now we can add a piece. So watch first. I'm on my right arm and my left leg slides back. Okay, and then if that's not enough trouble for you, so you can work, I'm against the wall here, and it's nice, comprehensive stretch of the right side, but you could challenge yourself and lift your left leg off the ground like this. And that's gonna drop and lengthen the whole T-spine nicely. Be careful. And then we do the other side. So we're gonna feed the left arm forward, look right, and lay the head on that right bicep, left bicep. And then if it feels good, sliding the right leg back, and then pushing into the wall, or lift the right leg up. Once you get there, scoop your tailbone in, and just let that whole tilting, that decline with the leg lifted, lengthen your T-spine, lengthen your mid-spine in that spiral. Once again, if you haven't done this, this is kind of funky innovation of mine. Right arm forward, left arm back. My left hand is my kickstand, and then I just float that left leg up. And then I lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And just enjoy the nice stretch of the neck. And then the left arm forward, the right leg back, and you rotate right. If that's too much, stay with the preliminary child's pose. And then let's all take a downward dog and see how that feels. And then go ahead and walk your hands to your feet and forward fold. Bend your knees, come up through chair pose, and stand, palms to heart. So let's go a little bit to the wall if you have one. If you don't, it's okay. And work this same action that we just did on the ground. So this is how it's going to look. Remember I said, let's feed our right arm up with the palm facing back and our left leg back like that. And then I had you slide your left palm toward you and extend the arm up, and the right leg went back, like that. If you have a wall, you can do it against the wall. And then you have the rotation, the head against the leg. So, I'm about a foot from the wall, if I have one. Slide my left arm up with the palm facing back, right toes back. And then I just start to lay my head against my left arm. So those that couldn't get the action on the ground probably get this. And then actively push into the wall with the left arm. Now the right arm goes up, the palm facing back. I lean into the wall, I lay my right head against my right bicep, left leg back. Remember we had the leg lifted. You can go for a little walk, like that. And just do a few rounds of that while I grab my water. And then we'll take a forward fold into the wall. Now that we're here. And just back away from the wall. Initially, bend your knees and then walk your T-spine right up into the wall. So you can keep your knees bent. And then you're going to get your mid-back, hopefully, right into the wall. And press and lean into the wall. The back of the head can gently push into the wall. And the objective is to lengthen the spine. As you get a little deeper into this, you can slide more of your back down the wall and lean into it. when you come out, be careful. Keep your head down, walk your feet away, bend your knees, and come up with a rounded spine.
So let's just do a little more wall work, and then we'll go a little further into some interesting postures. So we're going to take our left hand to the wall, and then take the fingers back, step the left foot forward into a warrior one. We've done this before, and then square off the chest. And so this is going to open up this left pec minor. It's going to tuck in that left shoulder blade. And then let's switch sides. Right hand to the wall with the fingers back. Square off, and then step your right foot forward and square off in your warrior one. Lifting your chest, dropping your tailbone, stretching that pec minor. And release. And one more on the first side. A little different this time. We're going to reach up the wall and then step the left foot forward. So the left hand is going to go up a little bit higher than the shoulder if you can. And then, remember how we started class. Go ahead, you take your opposite hand, your right hand in this case, right to the area of the posterior serratus, and just feel the lift from there. If you can't get the left hand that far back, just have it just behind your shoulder like that, come into your lunge, and lift that whole left rib cage up. Should feel good. And the back of the right hand is pulling that up, pushing up like a popsicle stick. And let's try the other side. Right arm up, just behind the shoulder, right foot forward. Doesn't have to be much. You need to move the arm closer to you, it's fine. The left hand goes behind the back. Get that lift from the posterior serratus. Just pushing it up, and breathe up length and volume into that whole right rib cage. Sink into your pose, and release. So as you just walk in front of your mat, you may feel a little bit taller. And now we'll flow with the feet together. Bring the arms up, palms back. Hands forward as you come to Utkatasana, and then fold.
Spin the palms forward, step your feet back, make your way to downward dog. Bring your feet together, lift your right leg high. And then coming into half pigeon right side. Stay up with your arms straightened if you can, so you kick out your back toes. And as you drop the right hip down, see if you can feel that action we've been working on from the posterior serratus. The other way to play this, if you've been in my class, is to do these cobra push-ups we did earlier in the half pigeon format. So the lift and then the drop. The forehead goes down, and feeling the articulation of the muscles along the spine, the shoulders, working here. So bringing motion into your half pigeon. And of course, any modifications or variations, if you want to reach back with your left hand, grab your inside of your left leg, square off, grab the foot, square off. And these are permutations of what we just did against the wall, with the left arm back against the wall,
Now it's to the leg. You may find if you're holding your leg, if you push palm into the foot, out to the left, you get that same pushing into the wall action. And then lifting from that posterior serratus. Don't do this on your own, but I'm showing you doing my right hand and lifting. Ah. Okay. And let's move to the other side. Downward dog. Left leg lifts, inhale. And then half pigeon left side. Glide back into it, taking whatever props you need. And you can work high here in extension. Or you can bring motion into this. Cascading down, placing the head on the ground or a blanket, and then feel this articulation as you do your cobra push-ups. And we've worked the arms hopefully enough to feel how the shoulders help the back bend, the forward bend. They're in complement. If you want to stay up and reach back with your right hand inside of your right leg, square off, feel good, or you can pick up that back foot. Pushing out to the right with the hand inside the right foot. Let's release and make our way back to downward dog. Come forward to high plank and then drop the knees, sit back in Virasana. So we're going to do our finale, which is a variation on the project I had you do earlier in class where we fed one arm forward. First it was in child's pose like that. Then we had the opposite leg. Then we lifted the leg. And this will be a similar variation in downward dog. So if it's too hard for you, hopefully I've prepped you through all this, then you can go back to one of the first permutations. So take a peek. It's going to be downward dog initially. And then what happens is I'm going to drop my right forearm down on the ground. I'm going to lift my left leg up. And I can nod side of my right head right into my right bicep before and take a peek to the left. So this is the Extremes Games version of what we did earlier. You're really pushing that forearm forward. And then if I do the other side, the left forearm drops, the right leg goes up, and I try to extend that forearm forward and then take a peek to the right. So that's for the super advanced. And if you were super duper advanced, you could do it with external rotation. Come up to down dog and spiral the right palm up to the sky. And then slide it forward as you lay the head on it. Other side, left forearm with the palm up, right leg up, peek right. Let's come down, and we can all come down into our child's pose with our forearms together like this, palms to the sky, and try to bring your elbows really close, and then drop your head right inside your biceps. So if you get it right, you've got a little massage table for your head. And then you can drag your hips back.
If you want extra credit, you can come up to a dolphin in this manner with the forearms together, the head drops, toes curl under, and up you come. The full external rotation of the arms. Now we're lengthening the T-spine. And then come down. One more, and that is to take the forearms forward, drop the head within the arms now. And then just tap your upper trapezius or give them a massage as you walk your hips back. Just feel if they're fired or if you can relax them. One last down dog to feel how all that T-spine opening, shoulder opening feels. And then jump through to seated. And straighten your legs for Dandasana. Pushing your palms near your hips. And feel the shoulders now. If you had little sense of how this deltoid can be fired front to back, now you know. And you'll see some yoginis, some people that really fire into the back deltoid and over pull the arms together. You want to balance the head of the upper arm bone in its placement of the body. Reach up, inhale, yes. How about the external rotation? And then grab what you can grab. Need your strap. Eventually, if you're flexible enough, you could just put the backs of the hands on top of the feet, push down, look up, even if you need to bend your knees a little bit. And now you get a nice length out in the mid-back. In the classic forward fold, where you're placing your head on your shins, it's hard to lengthen the mid-back. You have to keep your chin lifted and place the chin down. Most people are not that flexible, so by doing this little modification, which is nothing more than the same thing we did earlier in our vinyasa, and then we drop down. Let's shoot our hips forward, lay down, and take Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together. The knees splay open, the arms wide. Allowing the body to relax. And then bringing the knees together and gently lift the hips up an inch and set them to the right and drop and stack the knees to the left for a twist. The right knee on top of the left. And take your left hand on top of the right knee and then open your right arm out like a wing. Let's switch, come back to center with the knees, lift the hips an inch and set them to the left as the knees drop right. Stacking, left knee over right. You can take your right palm on top of that left knee and then open your twist to the left. Coming back to center, extend one leg, extend the other, Shavasana. Any inversions you want to put in there, you're welcome to. And taking a few breaths on your back just to feel the connection to the mat, to feel a lot of the muscles we used in the back extensors. And then bending the knees, rolling to one side, coming up to seated.
To close off. And palms to heart.